So welcome guys to the e-commerce dashboard introduction. In this session, I would like to show you three main things. The first one, why we created the e-commerce dashboard. The second one, how we can use it. And the third one, what action we can take from the insights that we get. So first point, why we created this. We had a lot of demands from the countries about data. The problem is that one, the data we were providing was not always matching what you were requesting, and two, it was manual. So we always had some delay on the latest data that you wanted to see. So in order to correct these two things, we developed this tool. So how to use the tool? Well, the tool provides a good solution to this initial problem by one, providing dynamic reporting. By dynamic, we mean that you can segment yourself the data you want to see. And two, by making it automatic. So the data that you see are the latest updated data that are automatically fetched from different sources. The three main sources are Google Analytics, which itself takes the data from different sources, including Ecommerce, which is the plugin that we use for our e-commerce tool. The second main source of data is MailChimp, where we collect all the emails. And the third source of data is Facebook Business, where we run all the paid campaigns. So the third point is what we can get from these insights, and I think we will get through this point more in details in the future. So let's go back to the second point, which is how to use the data. How to use the report. So this report is built as follows. If you click here, you have access to the different slides of this report. There are 7 of them. The first one, which is the one you can see right now, is the overview, which gives you a quick snapshot of what happens in the e-commerce right now. And then the following slides are going to dig a little deeper on different specific aspects of the e-commerce. The audience, where we can see what are the specificities of your audience, the demographics basically. Slide 3, the acquisition, we can see where the traffic comes from and what sources are driving the most revenues. In the behavior slide, we will see what happens inside the e-commerce website, what pages are the most visited, what search are the most popular, what pages are the one that attract the most traffic, and so on. In the conversion slide, we will see what products convert the best. And then we have 2 specific slides. We have the lead slides that is connected. It's a report connected with MailChimp, which shows you how many leads you acquired in general in your country, segmented by brand. And then we have the Facebook ads slides, which shows you the performance of the campaigns that we're running right now. So now we're going to go through each of these slides, and we are going to see what data we have and what conclusion we can drive from this data. So right now I'm on the overview slide. We have 3 segments available, which brings the dynamic side of the tool. So first, we can select which store data we want to see, either Alpina or Frédéric Constant. Second, we can look at what country we want to see. Is it only Switzerland or different countries? And third, what date range we want to see. So it works as follows. To select the store, you have to search the following keywords raw. Raw data means all the data. And here you can either select FC raw data to see the Frédéric Constant data or AL raw view. If you select anything else, you will not get the full picture of the data. So now let's keep on selecting FC raw data. On the country, you have several ways to select a country. So you can first tap the name of the country, for example, Germany. And if you hover, you can select only Germany. Here, you will only see the data for Germany. If you want to select several countries, you can just toggle several countries, like that. The data are automatically updated. So let's just select Switzerland. For the date range, when you open the page, it automatically shows you the data from the last month. So we're in December 2018, so it shows the data for November 2018, but of course you can modify the selection. Here, if we want to see from year to date the data from January 1st to date, so we are in December the 14th, and then apply, the data will automatically be updated. So what do we got here? The data from Frédéric Constant for Switzerland from the 1st of Jan to date. What do we see? We see main KPIs, the revenue in US dollars. The revenue is fetched from a WooCommerce plugin. It only takes the revenue from completed orders. It's very important because when an order is placed on WooCommerce, it is set as processing, which means that we have the money, but we still need to ship the item. So it's very important for each country to follow the Embrace Retail guideline that says that when you ship the piece, or when your retailer ship the piece, you have to update the status on WooCommerce from processing to completed, and only then the revenue will appear here. What you can see here is the difference from the previous period of the previous year. So here we selected 1st of Jan to December 14th data, and it will compare the data between 1st of Jan 2017 until December 2017. Now we see a big drop, and the reason for that is that in 2017 we've run a huge discount campaign on the website through Black Friday and Cyber Monday with up to 40% off, which led to much more result than this year. Then we have the transactions. The transaction is automatically fetched from WooCommerce as well, from completed order only. So transactions shows how many orders we got, but it doesn't show how many pieces we sold. Then we have the average order value, very straightforward, and the number of sessions. The number of sessions is the number of time people have connected on the website. So it can be that one single user connected 5 times throughout this period, so it counts as 5 sessions. Now let's look a bit at what information we have here. So we have the top countries per sessions. It gives you an idea of where the session come from. Of course, here only Switzerland is selected. If we select US, let's say we select all the countries, we have a better idea. For example, here we see that most of the traffic comes from USA, which is, by the way, a country we don't serve in e-commerce. So it can give you some insight on where it makes sense to activate e-commerce functionality, such as Japan, for example, here. Then what we got? What are the top sources by revenue? So we can see that organic search, the people coming from organic search, which means from Google, are driving 62% of the revenue, followed by referral, followed by direct traffic, followed by email. So what it shows here is that it's very important that we rank high on our keywords on Google, which are the branded keyword Alpina watches and Frédéric Constant. That's what it says. Then we can set up some objective. We can say, hey, why don't we increase the share of email revenue next year? That could be interesting. Why not increasing the share of direct? To increase the share of direct, we can think about solutions such as creating an add-on in order for you to save this page on your browser. This kind of things. Then what are the sessions by device? So here we can see that 52.6% of the sessions come from mobile, followed by desktop, followed by tablets. It's a very interesting insight that shows that we need to be on top when it comes to mobile version. So it needs to be responsive, it needs to be fast to load, and so on. Then what are the top products by revenue? So here we can see that by revenue, our top product is the horological smartwatch, followed by the classics, quartz, and so on and so forth. So here we can see that low priced items are actually the one driving the most revenue. So it's interesting, and maybe it drives the conclusion that we should focus on low price items. Here, this is a table. The table shows only 5 rows, but there are actually 42 data points. So you can use the arrows here to access to the other data points that are available. So that's it for the overview slide. Let's go to the audience one. The audience data comes from Google Analytics. So we're gonna do the same. Row FC. Let's select, in this case, Germany to change only, and last month. So what do we got? We got the percentage of new sessions. So out of all the sessions we got, the majority of it came from new people. So it's interesting. It means that new people are discovering more and more our websites. Then, in average, they stayed 3 minutes, and it's an increase of 30% compared to the last year. So it means people are more engaged with our content. That's good news. We see also that the number of pages per session increased of 73% year over year and is now at 6.5. We see that the number of sessions per user also increased of 5%, which is interesting. Then, what are the top cities by sessions and revenue? So here in Germany, we did no revenue in November. So let's maybe add another country to see some data, like Switzerland. In Switzerland, we saw that in Geneva, so we got most of the session coming from Geneva, and we generated 1.6K, followed by Zurich and Munich. Munich is a pretty interesting city because it has a lot of sessions, but nobody actually bought anything. So it's a low-hanging fruit, as we call it, because we can easily drive revenue from these people by doing retargeting ads on Facebook. What are the gender percentage by users? So we can see here it's mainly male, but we have a big chunk of female as well that we can, and so we can segment our communication to these two groups. Then what are the top age groups by user? 25 to 44 is the big chunk. So maybe we can drive some conclusion with that. Same here. This is a table. So by using the arrow, we can access to the different data points. Let's move to acquisition, where we get the traffic from. So let's still look at, so it's connected with Google Analytics, so we can still look, select the things we want to see. Let's select Germany only and last month data. So here what we see, what are the number of sessions by medium? So we see that most of the sessions come from Google or organic search, including Google, followed by the direct, the referral, the email. We have a big chunk here, and so on and so forth. So now we have this macro level data. We want to dig a little bit more on whatever medium we can. So if we dig on the organic chunk, this is what we get. Most of the organic sessions come from Google, followed by Bing, Yahoo, and others. So Google is really the focus here when it comes to ranking optimization. Then let's dig a little bit more on the referral chunk. Referral here, sessions come mainly from, let's see, actually other sources. So we can see it's very spread out. But the single first source is watchtime.net. So it could be that these guys had heavily promoted us on their websites, and it could be interesting from the German team to contact these guys to do more business together. We have here traffic from Stylight. It comes from a partnership that we developed from PLO directly with this website. And then we have Swiss Black Friday, Hochforum.de, and so on and so forth. So here you can access easily to the new potential partner here. Maybe these guys are even selling online, and we can make a partnership with them. Then what are the top social sources by session? No data. So let's add maybe some countries, or maybe let's increase the time range to see what we get. January 1st. So here we see that most of the social source is UpViral. UpViral is a tool that we use to get email addresses by using viral mechanisms. Usually what we do is that we use UpViral for contests. We say, hey, if you want to win a watch, share your referral link with 5 of your friends. If they subscribe, you can participate to the contest. It's an easy way to get free email addresses. And then we have Facebook. We have to be careful with that because Facebook actually may include the data from Instagram, because Instagram belongs to Facebook. So we need to be very careful when we look at Facebook. That's it for the acquisition. Then let's move to the behavior. This data is fetched from Google Analytics. So same here, we select the raw data from FC. Let's select in Switzerland, only data for November. So what do we got here? So in the behavior, it means what happens in the website once the person clicked and joined the website. So what's interesting to see is like, what are the most visited pages on this website? Here we just see a slash. It means the home page. What the tool doesn't show us is that before the home page, you can just take the domain name. So here the domain name is fredericconstant.com/. If you write this in the URL, you land to the home page. Then if you then the second most visited page is fredericconstant.com/fr/. So that's the French version, followed by private sales registration. So we see here an uplift of traffic in this page due to the campaign driven in November by the team. Then you have the watch finder, then you have the DE version, because in Switzerland people also talk German and so on. Here with the arrow you can see what are the next pages. So what you can do from that is that you can say, hey, most of the people are, like a lot of people are maybe visiting this exact page. Let's look at this page. Let's see if it's optimized. Let's see if it's optimized for mobile, for tablets, which get the most of the traffic. Is the content updated? Is the price updated? So we really need to pay a close look to these pages, and we give to you the responsibility, or let's say not the responsibility, but the role to check this page on a regular basis and let us know if there's something that is wrong and that we can modify, because these are the most important pages. What are the most searched terms? So you have a search bar on Frédéric Constant website, and it's interesting to see what people are looking for. So here, the thing is, we have very low amount of search, so we cannot drive conclusions because the statistical significance is pretty low. It doesn't mean that because this search had 2 sessions that it's more popular than this one that had only 1 session. So maybe here we can increase the date range to get a more significant data. Doesn't change so much. Maybe Swiss people don't like to search. They know right away what they want. Let's add some more countries. Let's actually add all the countries. Here, hybrid, there you go. Hybrid is the most searched item. So once we know that, we have to ask ourselves a few questions. Why people are looking for hybrid when they land on Frédéric Constant website? Because we know that people visit mostly the main page. Is it because it can be because the hybrid was not heavily promoted from the homepage? Then it's very interesting inside here because there's one SKU that is searched consistently. So if people search for this SKU, it can be that this SKU is not also properly displayed on the homepage. It can be an old SKU that also remains popular and that we forgot about and that we maybe should show on the homepage. Don't forget that on each country we can show a different homepage, so don't hesitate to look at this data and tell us what you want to show on your homepage. Then we have, let's come back to maybe one specific country for this one, Switzerland. Okay, here we have what are the top entry pages by sessions. So to what page people enter, from what page the experience with Frédéric Constant starts. And for Switzerland, it's the homepage, followed by the French version of the homepage, followed by the German version of the homepage, followed by the news page. Very important table, because if the news page from mobile, for example, is very ugly, people will disconnect. If the content is not up to date, people will bounce. If this content is a dead hand, which means that people don't have the opportunity to easily click to other page, people will bounce. So very important to look at what first impression people get when they land on our website. Same here, with the arrow we can see what are the other pages. See here, the collections for men is the number 6 page. Our Instagram page is the 7th page. I invite you to visit this page. It's a very important one. It's basically an e-commerce version of our Instagram feed. We promote this page on our Instagram bio in order to invite people in 3 clicks to buy our Instagram feed. So it's fredericconstant.com/Instagram, alpinawatches.com/Instagram. I invite you to look at this page. Then what are the top exit pages by sessions? It's a very important table also. We see here that most of the people exit from the homepage. And we saw also that most of the people actually arrive in the homepage. So it means that people come, they arrive on the homepage, and they exit from the homepage. So it could be that the content on the homepage for Switzerland is not adapted to the expectation of the people, or it could be that the website from mobile is not so easy to see, and people are bouncing. The second page from which people exit is actually a search, a watch finder that is filtered by gents, so men, simply. And yeah, people simply just, basically, I think these people arrived on the homepage, they clicked on gents watches, which make them arrive to this specific page, and then they quit. So it could be that the product they saw or the filter they saw don't match to their expectation. It's probably not, because we did a lot of improvement already on that page, but it could be that there are some tiny improvements that we can still do in order to retain people a little bit more. The news page is a page from which people exit. It's actually one of the main page from which they land. The news page is not something that we've looked heavily, but it's interesting because we get a lot of traffic from that, but we also get a lot of people leaving from there. So maybe it's the next project to investigate. The hybrid page is one page from which a lot of people exit, but it's also a page from which a lot of people enter. And by the way, there's not a lot of option once you arrive to the hybrid page, you cannot navigate. It's a landing page. You cannot navigate so much in the different pages. So maybe it would be interesting to add back a menu on this page to avoid people to quit this page. So that's it for, I think, one of the most important slides of this report. Let's move on to the conversions. What happens when someone actually bought something? So this page this data is fetched from Google Analytics. So we're still gonna select F0 data. Let's move on. Let's continue with Switzerland. And let's select only the month of November. What do we see here? We see the completed revenue. We see a huge drop from November last year, because November last year was the month of heavy discounts throughout Black Friday and Cyber Monday campaign, which we didn't have this year. So here we can see that when we do discounts, we see revenue. When we don't do discounts, we see a drop in revenue. So it can help us to reconsider the way we sell online. Then we have an important metric, the e-commerce conversion rate. So out of all the visits, how many converted? So it's a very low percentage. The average e-commerce percentage is between 1 and 2%. We're far from that, but we're also a very specific industry. I think it's an important metric, and it shows all the difficulty we have to sell online due to several hypotheses. The first one is that we sell pretty expensive items. The industry average, the e-commerce average basket is 90 euro. Ours is 1,000 euro. I can explain here the low conversion rate. Another thing is that a lot of people use our e-commerce website as a catalog still, where they can look at the watch they like and then go in your own store to buy them. So if we really want to drive sales on e-commerce, it could be that we should focus on low price items and items that are exclusively available online, that people can actually not purchase in their store. And this is two important hypotheses that proved to be right during the Alpanerex campaign, where the products were available only online during a limited time at low price with a discount for some of our bakers. So these are lessons that we should remember, and that we should use again in 2019 in order to increase our revenue. The very important thing is that now we are embracing retailer in our three markets: France, Switzerland, and Germany, which means that one, we can do discounts on our website without impacting our retailers, and two, we can sell online exclusivities without impacting our retailers, because a minimum of 20% of our revenue will be distributed to the retailer, either it did the sale or not. And then we have the number of transactions that we already saw. So what are the top products by revenue? Here we saw that Hybrid was the top product for Switzerland in November, followed by a Classics Moonface and a E-Strap. To have a better picture, I advise to use a larger time frame, let's say from year to November 30th. Here we see that the Classic Moonface is still the #1 revenue maker in Switzerland, followed by the Classics Auto GMT, followed by the horological smartwatch, the special edition for Valentine's Day, which was an exclusive product, and so on and so forth. Then we have what coupons were used for the transaction. Unfortunately, there's a lot of coupons that are not grabbed by Google Analytics, and it appears as not set. But we see also here that the Kirigo coupon is the following one, driving most of the revenue. Then we have two important data, and for this I would like to select maybe a bit more countries before introducing this data. So I've selected all the countries for FC and for year to date. What it shows here is how many, so we have sessions to transaction by revenue percentage. It shows how many sessions are done by a user before purchasing. So we see that after only one session, 36% of the revenues are made. After two sessions, 34% of the revenue are made, or accumulated number of up to 70% of the revenue are made. After three sessions, we have accumulated number of revenue of roughly 76%, and so on and so forth. So it shows that the first, second sessions are very important for our revenue, but it shows also that from 3 visits up to 16, we are still doing 30% of revenue, which means that it's very important to activate retargeting solutions to drive back the traffic to our website, using retargeting ads with Facebook, or using newsletters with our emails. And here we have a similar view: how many days before the transaction happens do we have, and the data, the metric used, the revenue percentage. So on the first day, we have 63% of the revenue happening. But on day one, so on D0, yes. But on D1, so the next day, we have, and up to 90 days, we have the remaining transactions that are done. Very important also to see that a lot of transactions are actually not done on the spot, but after consideration time. So that's it for the data that was fetched from Google Analytics. Now, would like to spend time introducing you two important slides. The one is the leads that is connected with MailChimp, and the other one is Facebook connected with Facebook ads. So the leads connected with MailChimp. What do we see here? We see, so first the data comes from only one list, which is the public list for Frédéric Constant and the customers list for Alpina. and the date range used is from November 12th to date. So first, what happens? We only use two lists. The public list for FC, here is the main list where we put all our leads into this one. So it's done manually. So if we create campaigns like Watch of the Week, at the end of the campaign, we will take all the leads we collected and we will copy them into the public list. So and only then you will see the new leads appearing here. It's a very important thing to know. Another important thing to know is that each month we can only display 100 leads because we use a free version to fetch this data with a third-party tool, which means that this number might not be accurate. For example, here I actually transfer up to 800 leads on the public list today, but only 121 are appearing because the rest of them cannot be fetched because of the limitation. So if we can unblock budget, we will go for the paid version, but so far this is what we have. Same for Alpina. I think added up to 200 leads today, but only one is shown. So this is the overall new leads, and then we split it by country. So you can see for your own market how many new leads you got from this date, December 12th, till now. And still keeping in mind that every month we can only fetch 100 data points overall. So this slide is actually a beta version. It's not accurate, but if we switch to a paid version, we will update you, and we might gain accuracy to one of the most important assets of e-commerce, which are the leads. And finally, Facebook ads. So the best for the end, because this is something that we've looked a lot, we've talked a lot about these last days. So this is fetching the data directly from Facebook business reportings. So the data range that you see here is only for the last 3 months, including this month. So here today we are the 14th of December. So the data that you see are from December up to now, November and October. So we have 3 months, including this one. The data is automatically fetched. So this is live data that you see here. And it's split by country. It splits by store, Frédéric Constant, Alpina. So let's look at Frédéric Constant. What do we have? We have the number of impressions. How many ads of Frédéric Constant has been printed on the Facebook network in the last 3 months. Facebook networks includes Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. Then how many clicks has been done? So a click can lead to whatever URL has been set to the campaign. So it can be that someone clicks to Frédéric Constant, but it can be that someone clicks to Oro Vivo if we do a drive to store campaign. Then how many leads has been acquired from Facebook? These leads are accurate. We don't have any limitation with the fetching tool that we're using. So this is the accurate number of leads we got. And how much we spent. The unit is Swiss francs. And now we have a split of this data by campaign. So here we see, and this is sorted by amount spent. So what we have? We have a Facebook likes campaign from Discover Earth, which is our agency in 2018. We got this amount of impressions in the last 3 months, this amount of clicks, no leads, because it's actually not a lead campaign that we do, but it's more brand awareness campaign, and 331 Swiss franc spent. It's followed by this campaign, this campaign, this campaign. What can we see interesting so far? This one is pretty interesting because Concert les Ambassadeurs was a campaign that was requested directly from Switzerland using the Google form. So whenever you want to do a campaign, so for the campaign, it works both ways. One, we create here from PLO campaigns every now and then, and we push this campaign to you. This is what happened for France for December with the 135 years Alpina and the campaign for Frédéric Constant. We push the campaign to you and we ask you, do you want to put budget on this campaign? This is exactly what happened for the 135 years for Alpina for France. But it works both ways. You can ask us to create campaigns for your specific market because you have something that you want to do with your own marketing budget, and we really encourage you to do that and to use for that the Google form that has been forwarded to you already. So fill out the Google form, send us a quick email. Hey, we filled out the form. Usually take to us 5 business days to come back to you with a proposal, and then allow us up to 5 other business days to implement the campaign. Most of the time it takes much less time, but in hard times like December, where we have a lot to do, this is pretty much what you can expect in terms of reactivity from our side. Coming back from Concert les Ambassadeurs, it's a concert that has been organized by the shop Les Ambassadeurs. Only 111 francs has been spent to reach 40k impressions. So we don't have a lot of clicks. We have to keep in mind that it's a brand awareness campaign where actually no click was asked. So the click here are mainly, I think, the click to our logo. So it's very interesting to see that with a little bit of budget, you can actually make a lot of impressions. And this campaign has been a success because a lot of people have participated. I've came actually to participate to this concert, to attend to this concert that was held in Les Ambassadeurs. Moving to Alpina, in the last 3 months, we had this amount of impressions, this amount of clicks, 165 leads for a total amount of 4K. So it's very interesting to compare the power of this tool, because one, you can reach a lot of people with very few amount of money, and two, you can track how many people you reach, how many sales you have driven, and so on and so forth. If you compare it with a display campaign for a metro station, well, first, it's not this amount that you will pay, it's maybe 100 times more. And second, you have no clue on how many people saw your ad. So really consider this and really heavily use this report from now on to digitalize a little bit your activity. Then here, what do we see? We see that we have a drive-to-store campaign for Alpinarex in Germany. The drive-to-store campaign is a campaign that's been done in partnership with Orovivo, with 26 stores, 26 different ads has been created on Facebook, and with geolocation around the 26 shops. And we generated 129,000 impressions for these 26 stores that are, by the way, located in small cities. So we don't talk about Paris, we talk about small Bavarian cities that you have never heard of and that has driven these amounts of impression, that amount of clicks to Orovivo website for only 2K spent. So it's a huge success in terms of brand awareness. We're still waiting for the result in terms of sales, but please don't forget that Facebook is not a sales channel, it's an acquisition channel. So we need to use Facebook to acquire the traffic, and then it's up to us to make sure that the content on the website is relevant to drive sale. It's important to remember that we need to focus on low price items, on online exclusivities, in order to make the difference once the traffic is here. And then if people are interested, they will come back from Google, as we saw, and they will buy. So that's it for this presentation. The main objective for that is that you gain transparency and independence, and when you analyze your e-commerce performance. Please don't forget that we are here also to answer any questions. We have set up a weekly meeting with each country in order to answer all the questions at once, and in order also to review these key KPIs on a weekly basis at first. So the idea is really to push you to think on how you can increase your revenue and how we can help you in a lean way, in a streamlined way, to achieve your objectives in 2019. So thank you for your intention, and I hope that this explains you a little bit more on how to be successful with e-commerce on your country.